Raise your hand if this is starting to trigger ideas of what you can do to rapidly grow your business. Okay, you should definitely be. If this is not giving you ideas, then you're pretty much screwed. Okay, I mean, these are the distinctions that make people millionaires overnight, effectively by tapping into this. Remember, there's two things we're going to focus on. One, first of all, your existing client base, your existing business, how you sell more to them, more of the same product. Plus also, what else do they want? And then you can go on joint venture, white label, or bring other products in that you control, or just send them to somewhere else and take a commission of other products. So it's easy to resell an existing client as long as you're adding value to the client and you're knowing what they want and you deliver them what they want. Making sense? Okay. Now it's important to stay focused, but as a back end, you can stay focused. If you build a business, you can stay focused with one thing up here that generates all the traffic, all the leads. And back here, you don't have to worry about focus so much. You already got a customer and you can just continually remarket to those customers other things. Or you progress them from one product to the next. So you have some companies that have stage products. Bit by bit, they work their way up and progress through their product range or product services. So that's very powerful. But then we say, okay, well, how do we obviously charge more? We looked at that. You can increase your price, you can decrease your costs, you can get better margins, improve your profitability that way. And then the ultimate way as well is saying, hey, how do we pump more customers in here? But many businesses can double, quadruple their sales before they get any more new clients just by looking after existing ones. Okay. Then we're going to say, well, how do we pump a lot more in here effectively? Okay. Does anyone have any questions on what I've covered so far? Or maybe be stuck on your particular industry and say, what are some ideas that we could do with this industry? We'll just go over here. We'll just get the microphone. So say, how do you maybe apply this to your industry or how else can we use it? Yep, fire away.
With joint ventures, you spoke before about accessing somebody's 10-year-old email list.
Yep.
How do you go about enticing someone to do a joint venture with you, especially if you're new?
Yeah, so once again, you've got to develop relationships. The bigger your database gets, the easier it becomes, naturally. So once again, it's the reverse of what you might want to do. They may have a business and they're just selling their own product. They're just busy selling their own product, but they don't realize that their database would buy heaps of your product or heaps of someone else's product. So you're going to have to put a proposition to them that show them what's in it for them. And obviously a lot of the money. You say, well, I've got a product and you've proven it's working, clients are happy, and what I'm saying, a lot of your clients may be interested in buying it. So here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to give you 50% or 30%, whatever the product is, a commission. And you say, I think if you've got X amount of clients, I think you could have X amount of sales, and this is how many hundreds of thousands or how many millions you could potentially make. So you got to what's in it for them, because they're not going to do it for free. Okay, some may, but generally not. Okay, so the other way to do it is often they might be doing a newsletter or mail out to their list. You can go to companies and say, here's what we'll do. We'll pay for your next mail out. So it's not cost you nothing. All we ask in return, we can put a flyer in there. So that's the simple ways you're trying to. Some companies will be open to it, some won't. But if you can build a relationship up or sell what the benefit is to them. Because do all companies want to increase their profits, yes or no? No, so your defense force, no. But the point being is that generally they do. Okay, so what you want to look at is you're adding value to them. So, but as long as the product's non-compete, non-threatening, okay, and it delivers and doesn't affect their brand or their goodwill with their clients, it's going to add value, then there's a fair chance you can negotiate a deal. Or the other way is you JV both ways. You say, I have a database, you have a database. Will you mail my database and keep all the money you make off it, and the same the other way? So you don't actually take any commission, but you're going to access the database that way. Or you say you keep track of the commission, okay, especially if you've got a smaller database and they've got a bigger one, okay? They're going to want to make money on what you mail to their database, and they'll make more money.
So you just make them an affiliate?
You can make them affiliate is one way, or if you're doing it online, say with an email list is much easier. The great thing about the internet is that with emails, JVs are far easier. Okay, because you can just have a tracking link, and understand, Lou will go through that if you don't understand a tracking link or an affiliate link, and they can promote your campaign. You provide, but what you do to make it easy for them, because companies are busy, so you create all the copy, the whole letter, put all the tracking links in, and all you do is even change it to the name of their company. And it could be something saying, we have, as a valued client, they're sending this out about you. As a valued client, we often come across products or services that we find are beneficial, And this is one that we think is really good value, and we've arranged with them to provide you with a 12-month subscription to their magazine, as an example. So you're willing to give something away for free. Okay, so sometimes they'll do a JV and they'll just do that because it's like it makes them look good. We've negotiated with this company to get you a free 12-month subscription you normally pay $50 for. And the clients on that database go, oh, thank you very much. So you might be in the magazine business, so you sell, you lose money. It's a loss leader. You have to pay for 12-month subscription to go to their clients, but you know that out of that you got a back end, etc., and you're happy to do that because it might promote your products or services. Making sense? Or you can do a loss leader. So one of these online companies, I was talking about my friend yesterday that has an online deal. So I sent him an email this morning. I said, because he approached me a few months ago saying, do you have any particular products or services that we can pump out to our subscribers and make a commission? So I have a magazine company. So I said, this morning went back to him and said, here's what we can do. We have a 12-month subscription to our magazine. It's worth $49. They want to always offer it at a discount to their database. They'll offer it, say, at $27. They can keep the whole $27. This would be a loss leader, but might pick up another 1,000 subscribers that after the year will continue on, or in that process, we sell other products and services to that. Okay. So once again, you actually can entice them. You give their clients a discount and get them keep all the money. That's another way you can do a JV. Okay. So it's not necessarily easy, but for you to go and build a 100,000 database, it's going to take you a decade. As an example, if you can go and spend, it takes you 2 months to do a deal with a JV and access that database, then you say, well, that's very valuable.
So the real benefit's getting them from onto your list, so you can get them
what
in the
you
back
want
end.
to do is that really, when you're marketing something, you ideally want it's easy. So here's the challenge that most people do, and why they're not successful in business. They're trying to sell. Okay, jot this down. Stop trying to sell people. Okay, stop trying to sell. I talked about it before, educate. But also what you should be doing, business is about relationships, right? The future is relationships. Why Facebook will dominate the world is because Facebook is a network, social network. And people will buy off their friend's recommendation more than they'll buy off a TV ad. True? If you want to buy something, you'll ask your friends, have you tried this product? What do you think of this product? And you'll believe that more. Or if you want to go to a movie, this is a good movie, you'll trust your friend's judgment, then you'll trust a TV ad telling you something is good. Okay? Because marketers tend to be biased, right? Of course, they're going to say their product's the best in the world. So that referral is very powerful. That's where social networks will work from. So that's the future. Okay? So there was something before that I was about to tell you. What was I talking about? I'll stop selling, educate. So the point is, social network is like a relationship network, and that's the power of it. So what you should be doing, your business should be about not selling, your business should be about starting and, jot this down, starting and developing relationships. That's what your business should be about. So you know what's going to say, how can I so much sell in a JV to another database? What I'd be focused on is saying, how can I do a JV and give something away for free? Why? You want maximum opt-ins onto your database, and you want to give maximum value away. You got to be saying, to grow a business, you must add what? Value and make a profit. The more value you add, the more profit you should make. So your focus should be, how do I start a relationship, and how do I give something of massive value? Because then you're going to have to sell. You give someone so much value, they're going to go, this is great. I want their product. If they give me this much for free, how much more will I get if I pay for a product? Is follow what I'm saying? Okay? Plus, your ultimate goal in business should be to add value anyhow. So even if it doesn't work, if you added value, created goodwill, boosted your brand, and even made no money out of it, could there be worse things that happen, yes or no? Yeah, you haven't failed. You've still achieved one of your outcomes to add value. Okay? Now, if you're in a position where you'll have other companies that can fund that, it doesn't matter whether you make a profit. Because you might make a profit anyhow just from the goodwill. Because goodwill is boosting your brand, and your brand value is everything. Okay? And we haven't really touched on brands yet, but that is a critical part of it. Okay? Does that help answer your question? So it will take some effort, but it's a matter of saying, also identifying which type of companies are most likely to do it. Okay? But once again, it's a sell. It's an education sell to them to say what's in it for them. This is how it can add value to your deal. So sometimes they don't want anything. So sometimes do JVs, if you offer a commission, it will reduce. It's just like you, if you're going to refer something to your friends, if you're offered a commission to refer it, some people don't want to refer because they're worried their friends might think, oh, you're just referring it because you make a commission. It can make you biased. A lot of friends, like some companies say, I'm happy to offer this to my database for no commission if it adds value because it makes them look good. So you want to make them look good to their customers. They're going to send out a free book, free something, free report, free magazine. It makes them look good, so they're happy to do that. Or discounted service. So say, XYZ company, we've been able to negotiate on your behalf to get you 50% off. Any of you looking to get XYZ service, go to this link and they will take care of it. Just mention that you're from us, blah, blah, blah. So it's all about positioning it to add value so you're adding value. And you don't mind if you're a customer on that database and go, oh, thanks. I bought, software through this company and they've offered me something else from a completely unrelated source, but I trust them and I trust their judgment. Great, I get 50% off. Saves me money. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Added value. Okay. Any other questions? Who's excited of what you can do with all these possibilities, one after the other? Remember, the Parthenon is like a work in progress, but the more you add, the more stable your business becomes, the more salable your business is, and the faster it will grow. Okay? Faster will grow. So you can combine all these different strategies. So what we want to look at is say, how do we grow a business significantly? Well, when we talk about what is the new rules, okay, the new rules of business. The reality is this, the world has changed. What worked 10 years ago will work to a certain degree. This stuff worked 10 years ago, this stuff will still work. It's fundamentals. However, the future is the information age and the future is the internet. And what I want to share with you, which I've been sort of dropping hints all weekend, is that the future of the world is about the internet and why internet creates a low-cost model. Okay, it reduces overhead, it's systemized, it's more automated, it's more efficient. And as a result of that, consumers are getting a better experience because often they're getting a lot of things cheaper or in most cases free. So there's a way that some of the smartest businesses on the planet are growing by simply giving their product away for free. So you say, well, how can they do that? How do they make money they're giving away for free? So I'm going to give you some examples of that, but I want you to start thinking about, you don't have to give all your products away for free, but if you can give something away for free of massive value, you're going to attract a lot of potential clients, you're going to create a lot of goodwill, and you're going to build a brand. So when we think about branding, what you want to jot down, I guess some of the most successful companies with branding is what you want to understand is this. You don't want to build a business around you. You want to build a brand. Why? Because a brand is worth money. A brand is transferable. What is a brand? I guess it's goodwill to some degree, but better. It's goodwill that's in a brand that is saleable. Now you look at some of the most successful brands on the planet. Coca-Cola, okay? Virgin. You think of Virgin, what is the Virgin brand worth? Well, it's probably valued, worth several $1 billion. That's the power of it. Why? Because Virgin can start another company and call it Virgin something, and hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of customers will flock to it. Why? Because the Virgin company, we've dealt with Virgin before, we had a good experience, link pleasure to that, we know we'll get value for money. Okay, so with branding, jot this down, branding is everything. What you want to try and do if you want to be a smart operator is build a brand or build multiple brands. So in my career, I obviously built a 21st century brand. So what we did with that as an education organization, we built multiple companies out of that. So we created 21st Century Finance, we created 21st Century Education, we created 21st Century Property, we created 21st Century Recruitment, we created 21st Century Licensing, 21st Century Internet Software, 21st Century, company after company. So we built a lot of companies using that brand so we could do what Virgin, that was modeled off Virgin. In other words, what Virgin did, they broke all the marketing rules. Generally, the rules are in marketing, one brand is for one industry. Virgin come out as a Virgin Records and then started Virgin Airlines. What has airlines got to do with records? Absolutely nothing. So they didn't think the brand would carry over. It just doesn't make any sense, but it did. Then they started Virgin Mobile. And people buy Virgin mobile phones. They started Virgin Money. And now they're very big in Virgin health and fitness stores, okay? They grow by creating their own or also acquiring other businesses. And Virgin has 400 different companies. So by creating one brand and carrying it across different industries, what it means is a lot of the customers will follow because they've already, what power of branding is, you've built a relationship once, so your lifetime value of the client is longer. So if you looked at the marketing funnel of Virgin, the top of the funnel might have been Virgin Records initially. But then people end up buying an airline ticket. And then they end up buying a mobile phone, and they're buying a credit card, and so on. Or each of these will have their own funnel filtering clients back into the rest of the products. Even though they're independent, separate companies, the brand carries over. Who's following what I'm saying here? So branding is starting to make it seamless, which is a power of white labeling as well. Like Stefan, white label a lot of products. It creates a brand. Also, his business is now worth more because of the power of branding. Okay, so branding is a good way to accelerate your business. Also, it separates you from your business. You can build a brand. So what you can also do is dual branding or multiple branding. So if you go into the cereal industry, if you go into a supermarket, you'll find that there's umpteen different types of cereals, right? Now, often they're owned by the same company that's created different brands, a brand for this market, a brand for the more expensive market, a brand for the middle market, a brand for the mass market. So they'll create, and they will compete, they'll create their own competition of the different cereals in the same market competing against each other. But it's owned by one company. Why would they do that? Because it increases the market share. Because one product might not relate to everyone, but multiple products, they're going to get someone that likes the product and increases their overall sales. Making sense? Because clients like variety. Or it increases sales. Some clients might buy more than one cereal, true? So you can use different branding. So in some of my companies, I have companies people don't even know about because they're not branded 21st Century. They're not branded, I'm not even, my association's not with them. They're a different brand in the marketplace. And they'll often compete against some of my other companies. Dual branding, different branding, okay? So you create a different brand. Now that different brand might be focused on a different outcome. So it reaches, so some people might love a particular brand, some people don't like a brand. So if you have everything branded the same way, you can then lose customers for a different brand. So if you have a different brand, you can compete in different markets. And a lot of big companies will do that. They'll own sometimes 1 and 2 competitors. They'll just compete against each other. It creates competition. Competition can be healthy. It can drive more sales. Or what you should be looking at is that you can often give clients to your customers and to your competitors and make money. Okay, by doing joint ventures or being an affiliate. Because let's face it, let's say you have 1,000 customers come in here, 1,000 prospects, and only 10% convert, so you have 100 clients out of that. The other 900 you weren't able to sell. Now, obviously, by having back-end products, you might get them to offer them into other products and pick up more of them. That would be smarter. But those other 900 you haven't been able to sell. Why not give them to your competitors and say, look, you can market to them. They didn't like our product, maybe they like yours. Give me a commission. Can you do that, yes or no? Yeah. You can think outside the box. Instead of seeing the world as competition, see it as, what is it? Co-opetition. Okay, I'm not sure if that's an official word, but add it to, what's that website? I was going to say WikiLeaks, it's not Wikipedia. Okay? Wikipedia. Co-opetition basically means working, the abundance model versus scarcity model, working with your competitors, so to speak. Because you're thinking above that. You're saying, well, I'm not focused on this little industry. My business is bigger than that. I'm focused on a bigger picture. So I see them as part of my team. Because they're after. So what you might do is give some of those away, and some of those clients might buy, then you pick up extra revenue. You've already spent the money to get them on your database. You might as well turn them into revenue. Okay? They mightn't like your product. They might like someone else's. Because for whatever reason, they have a different choice. And in a free market economy, we have choices. So we can go and buy off whoever we want. Okay? So those things can be very powerful to do that. Repeat after me. Something to think about. Are you saying, Jamie, I should give my customers to my competitors? Yeah, particular C&D ones. Okay? But if you can't convert them, why put them to waste? I've went to companies before and say, look, you're just wasting them. Why don't you do something with them? We'll offer what we have. Or you offer something to them. Okay? They want something. Okay, it's about matching up what they want. Is you're going to get more conversion. Okay, so making sense. So the future of the business is this. What I talked about before is that we've got to accept that it's moving to the internet. So most businesses, no matter what sort of business they are, they have a website pretty much, or will have. So what does it mean is lower cost model. So I talked about yesterday that if you're under 30, when we say something's free, you accept, I know something's free. I get heaps of free stuff on the internet. I expect it. And I don't think there's a catch. Over 30, you would see if something's free, it's probably a free trial, it's just also something free. You know there's a catch to it, no such thing as a free lunch. They're likely going to try and sell you something. Because that was the older school marketing. The idea of giving away something for free actually started, not new, it's 100 odd years old. You know, King Gillette, which led to the start of Gillette Company, was one of the first to start marketing the idea of free. He couldn't sell his razor blades, okay? So he figured out, what if I go away, what if I actually sell, give away, not sell, but go to other companies and let them, if you open up a bank account, you get a free razor. Okay? As an example, in America, said 100 odd years ago. Because what he was after was selling the razor blades that go disposable razor. So if he could get mass circulation of people using the razors that he gave away, then of course they would need to buy the razor blades that go in them. And he'd create a demand for the razor blades. Making sense? So as a result of that, by giving away a razor, in other words, saying, Jamie, are you saying if I was to give my product away, I could potentially become rich? Well, did it work for the Google boys? Do they give their product away, yes or no? Yes. They give it away far and wide, charge nothing for it, and become incredibly rich. So Gillette, King Gillette, that's what he done. He was struggling, but he thought outside the box. What business am I in? He was not in the razor business. He was in the razor blade business. So he had to educate and create his own demand. By giving away loss leader, jot that word down, loss leader. Loss leader means you might lose money on initially, but you recoup it back. Client acquisition. So giving a razor away, but how do you give it away? Well, go and do a JV, go to banks, go to other businesses, credible businesses, and say, guys, if you give this away, you can use this as a way to sell more of your own product. Buy this product or open this bank account or do this, and we'll give you a free XYZ. Make sense? You're doing that, and that creates automatic demand for your product. Making sense? So that was one of the first ideas of free. So now it's very common free. Pretty much anything on the internet is free. Facebook, as we know, look, thinking Facebook when Facebook was starting. Okay, so Facebook, most of you know the story, but if you read about the story in more detail. When Facebook was starting, if let's say they got to 10,000 users, and then if Mark Zuckerberg said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We really need money. We're at Harvard, we're at university, we need to survive. And so what we're going to do, okay, let's start charging. They could have started charging per user, is that true? And they could have made money. Out of 10,000 users, maybe 1,000 people might have decided to pay. But if they had done that, would you know about Facebook today, yes or no? No, because they knew that if they did that, sure, they needed money in the short term, but they were about building a platform, jot this down, critical mass. Building a critical mass. And they were basically going on the philosophy, build it and they will come. They had no certainty they would come. Mark was just believed that if you build it, do not charge, they will come. Now if you see Facebook's motto, it is, we will never charge. Do you see that? Because so many rumors are they're just waiting, they get a billion of us on there and then they'll start charging us, okay? But why would they ever charge? Why would they mess with why charge at $1 billion? They could if they wanted to. Imagine they charge $1 a month when they've got 1 billion users and only $500 million dropped off. They'd still have 500 million customers paying $1 a month. It's $500 million in revenue and nearly all profit margin a month. Would that be a good business model? Who'd be tempted in doing that? Okay, well, that temptation, it's like, but you got to see the bigger picture, because now they say, well, we're making $1 billion a year in revenue, and as we continue to grow, that will go to 2 billion, 3 billion, and we get really good at monetizing it. They'll end up making billions and billions, but they get really smart, go, well, think about Facebook. Eventually in the future, if you're not on Facebook, you don't exist. That's your identity. Imagine a system where you pretty much can contact anyone in the world, because everyone in the world will be on Facebook. If you want to email someone, you just email anyone in the world because you can find out who they're on Facebook and send them a message. True? Imagine a system like that. Why would governments issue passports when Facebook could eventually issue passports? Because Facebook will be the passport to the world. Why does Facebook have to rely on other monetary systems when Facebook can create in the future their own monetary system? People can have Facebook credits and buy and sell through Facebook. Why would people go to TV when they can go on Facebook and ask their friends? I'm thinking about buying XYZ laptop. Who has bought this before? What do you think of it? And that goes out on everyone's Facebook and they get all the messages back. Yes, it's great, buy it from here. Or you've just gone to a shop, which they're already starting to do. Click here, I'm here, I'm just bought XYZ product at this shop. Goes out to everyone. You imagine the power of that referral marketing, that can all be kept in Facebook. Facebook is just beginning. Facebook can basically be a world system, okay, a very powerful one, because they recognize what they have. They're not trying to just bank the money now, just bank the money now. Build a platform, build it and they will come. Now that's, you say, well, Jamie, that's great, that's worked for Google and Facebook, but you think we're going to build the next Facebook? We just want to make some money, okay? We just want to go on holidays occasionally. So you don't have to be that big, but can we model success and apply it to what we do, yes or no? You can. In other words, why not? Why model failure? Model success. Take ideas from what these guys are doing. So at 10,000 users, they decided not to do it. What they were doing was saying, let's build it. Let's build it. Okay, eventually going on faith it will work. And now they know it's working, but they didn't know that was going to work. Okay, but they're willing to say if it costs us $1 billion to get 1 billion users, it's still worthwhile. Someone will buy the business offers, even if it wasn't making money. Why? Why is Twitter valued between $8 and $10 billion and it's barely making any revenue yet? It's starting to. Why? Because it has a massive database. Now, my thinking was 18 months ago, if I owned Twitter, I would have cashed it in. So if you can get $1 or $2 billion, get out of that sucker, because that's a trend. That's a trend that could come and go rapidly. Take your money while it's on the table. Now, ironically, it's actually continued to perform really well. It's worth 8 or 10 billion. I would be taking my money still now. Okay, why? Twitter could become worth 20, 30 billion, maybe. But the pioneers, it may not. It could disappear. Something else could come out, or Facebook could create something even better, and or etc. But most likely they'll be bought and fit into another company. So the pioneers, you can make money from a company whether it's making profit or not, just by the database and its potential is worth money. Making sense? But to do that, jot this word down, you have to have scalability. On the internet world, scalability, you need size. So these are the businesses of the future. Be thinking about how do you make your business more effective online and how do you build future businesses. These are the rules of the new game. It's going to be the internet, and that's why we got Lou speaking tonight more about the internet. Who's excited by the internet, by the way? Okay, if you're in business now, you got to get excited about the internet because that's the future, whether you like it or not. It's the way the world's heading. So the reality is this, scalability is what you're really after, and it's a bit like this funnel. Even if you're a retail shop, what Stefan Hair Salons was after was scalability. If he gets a lot of people pumped through here, he has lots of franchises. If it works on one franchise, and that boosts the profit from say 100 grand a year to 400,000 or 500,000 a year on one franchise, then what he does is roll it out. If he has 10 franchises, 10 times the result. And then he can say, well, my God, if I'm making this sort of money, I can afford to open up more franchises. Boom, 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 boom. Once you have something working, tested and measured, because marketing is a what? Marketing is a science. It's a calculation. It's a mathematical formula. It's not perfect, but you can work out and say, work out this system. You can measure everything, and that's what you need to be doing in your business. If you know if you pump every 1,000 prospects in here, turns to 100 clients here, which converts to 50 more clients here, 25 more clients here, 15 more clients here, and how much they spend, and then how many times they come back, and that's equal a dollar amount, you now have a mathematical formula. It's not guess, it's not chance, it's a business system that works. Making sense? And then you can say, my God, then if I can come back and pump more in here, if I've got 1,000 coming through here, what if I can get 5,000 a month coming through here? 10,000 a month. What if I get like Facebook and get like 600 million users? That's what they've got users. What does that convert in advertising dollars? Let's say each user is worth $1 per month, as an example, or per year. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? And they can grow by doing that. That's what we look at. So scalability, the internet enables scalability. The internet enables kids sitting in a garage right now to come up with an idea that can reshape the world. Or just reshape your community. Or might just be a small business that you don't ever hear about but still sold for $2, $4, $5, $10 million. Repeat after me. Something to think about. The potential of this. There's some great internet success stories in Australia. Look at What If. Who uses What If or has used it before? Great success internet story, okay? Just an idea to go online and help hotels sell their spare rooms that they have. Lastminute.com, What If, etc. Very effective. And those companies are now listed and growing big business. They're internet businesses. So jot this down. This is what Eric Schmidt, you know who Eric Schmidt is or was? He was the CEO of Google up until recently, or it was handing it over back to one of the founders of Google. He basically says this: if you have a business, etc., where the more you can give your product away for free, or the more people you have using your product or service, the cheaper it becomes, then you should give it away for free. You should give it away far and wide, spread it as far and wide. In other words, what he's saying, it relates to Google as well. What Google is after is Google wants more information on the internet. That's why they're digitizing all the books out of libraries, etc. The more information on the internet, the more money they make. Does it make sense? Because people search for the information and they run ads next to it. So they will do anything. That's why they create half of Google's products. New companies they've bought it even. They'll take a company they buy that's selling product, making money, and they'll go and give the product away for free. Google Maps, Google Earth. Oh, these things don't cost nothing. They cost millions to create. They give it away for free. Why? Because they're thinking of the big picture. They're not after the short-term money. So if you like Facebook, after 10,000 users, just charge them. Let's get some money in the bank. If you go for the short-term money, you could kill your big-term business. Make sense? You want to say, do you want a small business, do you want a large business? That's what you're going to be looking at here. So Google goes, well, let's give stuff away for free, because the more people use these products, more people on the internet, more information we put on the internet, or encourage other people to put on the internet. As the internet continues to grow, guess what happens to Google's profits? Continue to grow. Why? Because people search for this information. When they search on Google, because that's who people search on, up pops all these ads. Ads are money for Google. Expands their universe. Powerful, isn't it? All based around giving a product away for free. If they charge for Google, who would pay for Google that you were charged? Who would pay? Most of us would, because it's value, it's worth paying for. If you had to pay $10 a year or $1 a month or even $10 a month, people would pay. But they'd make a lot of money from that, but they would cap their business. Make sense? They would cap it and make it more of a shorter-term business. Make money in the short term, but they would limit their growth. And as a result of that, they would never get the full expansion. Because Google is happy to give their front-end product away for free because they have a massive back end. Making sense? If you don't have a back end, it's hard to give something away for free. You need to create a back end. And their back end is pay per click. 90% of the revenue is from those Google ads, which Lou will talk to you about tonight, how you can use that service to grow your business anyhow. So the moral to the story is free is the future. So we're going to look and say, Jamie, you're saying to fill the top of the funnel, I should give things away for free. And 99% of cases, the answer is yes. So what can I give away for free? Well, online, you can give away a lot of things. Digital type products you can give away for free. What's it cost to download a report? Nothing. So you create a report, put it up there, a report how to, 7 tips to be the garden guru of your neighborhood. Okay? Here's handy tips, save money, make your garden look like a master chef type garden, so to speak. So you give away a report. You give away a book. You can write a book. These days to write a book, you don't have to write a book. You have ghostwriters, people overseas that will write a book for you, or you go and get the white labeled rights to a book. Does it make sense? You can get thousands of these, cost bugger all. Some of them are free. The white labeled rights or the licensing rights to other products you can give away for free. Free trial, free download, free book, free report, free magazine, free sample, free something. If you can't afford to give your product away for free here, create a product at the front end and create an educational type product. Why? Because to sell, stop trying to sell, start adding more value and educate and use your educational product, which is about teaching and adding value about what your product or service does, and give it away for free if you have to. And as a result of that, you'll get more exposure into your back-end system. Make sense? So the more value you can add by doing that. So let's look at some of the rules. I've given you some handouts here. We'll go through some examples of, Rob, we'll just go through some of these examples. We'll put a few up there. If you can find it. One in particular we'll start with that relates to, some of you relate to, how can, these are companies that have given away things for free, because some of you are going, well, Jamie, I give things away for free, how do I make money? You know, like, well, Google made a lot of money giving something away for free. Facebook makes a lot of money. Twitter doesn't yet, but it's worth a lot of money. So the scalability is what you're after. How can stocks be free? Can you find that one, Rob? How can trading stocks be free? Now, the internet completely reshaped this industry. Some of you will be familiar with this. So you'll see there's one of the free examples you got there. Because I just want to give you examples, because looking at examples triggers ideas for you, but also says we're not just talking about something in theory here. We are talking about successful businesses that are reshaping the world, that are following a trend. If you don't get on that bandwagon, you're going to be left behind. If you come up with some way, we're talking here where you can just reshape industries if you get smart with this. You can just decimate an industry by giving your product away for free where the competitors are charging. Just take their market share. You say, well, that would be great, but I'll go broke too. No, how are you going to monetize that as well? So let's look at an example. How can stock trading be free? As it says, E-Trade was the first venture to disrupt the stockbroking industry by tapping online efficiencies. So in other words, by online and internet, it's a much cheaper deliver of products. So it's getting the race to zero. It's getting easier to deliver something for less and less. You see on TV the ads like Bell Direct, $15 for a stockbroking trade. I mean, it used to be so much higher. It's getting cheaper. They're all competing, but they're competing in a finite market. It's getting cheaper and cheaper. So the margins are getting smaller, but that's why they need volume. Your margin is small, you need volume. But on the internet, you can handle volume because it doesn't take up, it costs less. And that's what Eric Smith was saying. If you have an online business, the more users you get, the cheaper it is per user. Facebook, it's cheaper the more users they get. In the beginning, 100,000 users was costing them a lot of money, maybe $5, $10 a user. 600 million users, it's probably only costing maybe 50 cents a user. Make sense? If they can get to 1 billion users, it might only be 30 cents a user. Same with Google. The bigger they get, the less per user it costs, the more therefore they want to give it away because scalability is the game. That's what we're talking about here. So then Zecco. So Zecco you wouldn't know about in Australia. I don't think it's here. It's in the US stockbroking company. Investors make up to 10 stock trades per month at no charge. So in Australia, you're still paying X amount of dollars for even E-Trade. Now no charge for 10 trades a month. Since the e-broker began offering free trades in 2006, more than 150,000 members have joined. Even as the market plunged the fall of 2008, account sign-ups still increased by 50% and the number of daily trades increased by 1/3. How can Zecco afford to take zero commission from a client that a discount broker is charging $100 for? Well, if you look at it, what they do is how Zecco makes $179 per year from a semi-active trader. So they set minimums, charge for additional trades. So traders are granted, say, 10 free trades, only they maintain an account balance of $25,000. Now, there's a reason for this. Once again, they're qualifying their clients. Why they want a minimum account balance of $25,000? Well, if you do that, you get 10 free trades a month, right? So more people are likely to do that. But here's what they want to do. If you drop below $25,000, Zecco charges $4.50 a trade, so it makes money there then. Likewise, every trade after the $10 costs $4.50. So a lot of people, if they're going to get free trades, they'll trade more. But they'll end up going over 10 trades, and then Zecco starts making money over 10 trades. When we're going through this, I want you to be thinking about your business. Here's business models that have come into industries. How is the rest of the stockbroking industry going to compete against companies like this that giving their product away for free? You can trade for free. Who would like to use Zecco to trade for free? Okay, if it was here, as an example. Why wouldn't you? So that you can see here is some young entrepreneurs that have come up with an idea and they're just going to demolish an industry and take market share because they're giving their product away for free. How hard is it to give a product away for free? It's a lot easier than it is to try and sell a product. A lot easier. You probably figured that one out. So typical users, 1/4 of all Zecco customers make more than 10 trades per month. So once again, they've worked out their lifetime value. They've worked out the conversion. So even though they're giving their product away for free, 25% of their customers trade more than 10 times a month, so they pick up revenue off that. Okay? And it's all zero cost for them. It's very cheap for them to deliver this service. So that generates at least $170,000 a month for Zecco. Who would like a business that one of their incomes generates $170,000 a month? An online business? That's a pretty powerful online business. Though typical users make just 1 or 2 monthly trades and maintain a balance over $25,000, they may rebalance their portfolios once or twice a year. Each time they average 15 trades, 45 per year for 45 trades, 10 to 20 of which are free, so they make more money there. They make money on uninvested funds. So this is a no-brainer. All online brokers take advantage of this. An average Zekko user might maintain $1,500 of uninvested cash in his account, just in case a promising investment opportunity arises. So like a bank account, Zekko makes 2% in interest. So it's making interest on some of the funds that are not being used by the client. So revenue. It supplements its paid services and ads. For clients looking to reduce capital gains taxes, Zekko sells tax planning and portfolio management software. After a 2-month trial, which is free, okay, using the free part all the way, customers then pay $25 every 6 months, $50 a year. Active traders also subscribe to market data feeds for $20 a month. And like most commercial sites, Zekko runs topical banner ads. So once again, a lot of sites that give something away for free will make money from the advertising. Okay? They're still making money from advertising, but they're also making money by, what have they done? They've gone to joint venture partners to create a bigger back end. Tax, capital gains, tax management services software. So they go and get someone else's product, probably white labeled it, and then what they do is still give it away for free for the first 2 months, and then they charge, they make revenue from here. So you see the marketing funnel. You want to grow a business rapidly, something away for free to generate massive amount of volume, internet-based model, low-cost model, so you make margins on a small amount of money. The volume drives the transaction through. So think about someone had to come up with Zekko. Zekko is a hugely successful company in the US now. Makes a lot of money online. All it was, how do we go and give our product away for free? Will it be popular? Yes or no? Is that Einstein stuff? Yes or no? Who thinks they could have thought of that? Okay. Well, maybe not before this weekend, but now you should be. You should be leaving this weekend and going, frig, I want to upset every industry out there. How can I give away my product for free and decimate it? You're not really going to decimate it because even if you give something away for free, you're still not going to reach everyone. However, what you're doing is how do you take a slice of the market before your competitors know what's going on, know you even exist, and then you're first to market. You actually create something more promising and effective, and you have market share and you make money at the back end. That's where the world is moving. Like the advertising industry has moved, charging X amount a month into Google. Google can charge 10%, 10% of what TV ads charge or newspaper ads, but Google makes more money than any of the TV companies, okay? Because they've taken a bigger market, they've added value to society. Do you like the fact it's cheaper to advertise on Google, yes or no? As a business owner, you do. That's added value to your life. They add value and they make a what? Profit. Zekko, do they add value if you use their services, yes or no? They add value, they're still making a profit. Remember, this is the new rules of the game. Figure out how do you add more value and make more profit. Most people haven't even thought about this yet because you know what most people are doing in those industries? They're like, shit, everyone keeps undercutting us, we have to keep lowering our price. They're trying to fight. They're like the music industry. Like, you know, people should respect and not download music for free. Yeah, maybe they should, but are we going to have an argument about that? No. Do you care? You're a consumer. If it's free, you're going to download it. You don't feel like a white-collar criminal, do you? You're going to download it. You can't stop that. So the music industry kept trying to fight, and they kept going court cases. They shut down Napster, did all this. At the end of the day, you can fight it. It's a bit like Telstra going, stop using mobile phones. The landline business, it's worked for us for years. Stop connecting landline phones. There's no point in them fighting, isn't it? Accept the reality, milk it as long as they can, but be a service provider in mobile phones, be the next Wi-Fi, be all those things so you're capturing the market as it disappears here. You're ahead of the trend. Don't fight what's obvious. Go with the flow and monetize it. That's what we're talking about here. Monetize it before someone else does, because there's entrepreneurs around the planet that are going to do this. The key is whether you do it and how much of a slice of the market do you take. So I want you to start thinking now. You should be thinking, shit, this weekend's about a lot more than just my little business or what I'm doing in my business. It's about more what I can potentially do in the world. Making sense? And some of you go out of here and build awesome businesses because you just trigger those ideas. Aha. Test, measure, make it happen. Once again, shortcut to success is simply to what? Model. That's what we're doing here. What has stock trading got to do with your business? Once again, they're using all these things that we're talking about. Let's go to another one which relates to the seminar industry. There's one here on how can an exclusive conference remain pricey if it's free online? So some people have an objection, go, well, if something's free, won't that cannibalize my main product? It doesn't necessarily have to. You can give away a product for free and doesn't even have to cannibalize it. Who's heard of TED before? TED conferences, hugely popular. People pay $6,000. You have to be invited to attend. I mean, it's so popular, $6,500 to go. It started off in America, but now they have them around the world. And basically, they give away, you can watch TED online, the conferences for free. Yet people paying $6,500 to go to the conference. So you say, Jamie, can you give your product away for free and won't it cannibalize the product? No. Has it stopped people going and paying $6,500 a ticket to go to a TED live conference? Yes or no? No, because even though you can watch it on the internet and get a lot of the experience, it's probably a different experience to being at the event, isn't it? You might pay $6,500, but when you're at the event, you got a live experience, you got the networking aspect of the experience, you got to meet and other people, it's adding more value, so people still pay. Ironically, this is what's happened. If you look at the graph, by giving it away for free, it's actually increased their sales. Why? Because it gives exposure to so many more people. By getting it free, a lot of people watch the TED conferences online and go, this is great, one day I'd like to go. And it increases demand for that. So ironically, it can be the opposite of what you think. But sometimes giving something away for free, you actually increase the demand for your upgraded product or your live product or your premium product. Okay? If you look at some of the software companies, this is something they've done for years. They go out and give away their software for free, get everyone hooked on it, and they do an upgrade version. The upgrade version is, guess what? Not free. But if you love the product, you build a relationship, you go, this stuff is great, you don't mind upgrading because you're happy to do that. What does Apple do? Do you think Apple doesn't know how to put a camera in an iPad? Do you think they don't know how to put a good camera in their first iPhones? Of course they knew how to put a camera in those phones. They knew they'll sell the versions without it first. Everyone will love it, sell millions of them, and then they'll release a new version with a camera in it. Got to have the camera, so they sell another product again. iPads will come out, and guess what? In 2 months, they'll come out with a camera. Do you think they couldn't put a camera in the first one? No, they deliberately didn't put it in the first one. They want you to buy the second model. And they know you're not going to wait for the second one to come out. You're going to buy the first one because you want to be cool and trendy and get it first. And they know you'll dump that one and buy the second one. True? Is that what they do? Yeah. They do it very well. Would you do that if you're an entrepreneur? You make an extra $1 billion in sales? Of course you'd do that. Okay? It's just like TVs. The models for TVs years in advance are already available. They don't release them yet. Why release them when you've got stock of existing stuff? You gradually phase it in. You don't want to release the be-all and end-all. You release one, upgrade it, then you release the next version. Because, the TV market, you could have said, oh, the TV market's dying. How many years ago did everyone already have a TV? People buy more TVs now than ever. Flat screen, how cheap they are. Technology halves in price every 2 years. A TV now, when it first come out, a big TV, a 60-inch TV would have cost you like $20,000. Now you buy a 60-inch TV for what? $1,200. Okay. Online as well. TVs now buy online. Harvey Norman hates it. Jerry Harvey hates it. Okay. Entrepreneurs selling it online for a fraction of the price. So the power of free, it's been working for some time. It can work a lot more for you, and I want you to think about that and say, well, how do I get so many raving fans? How do I create such an impact? Free is the fastest way to do that. But then you've got to say, what's my back end? How can I monetize this? Or how does this relate to my product? You might have to create a product that can be given away for free. Okay? You might have to create that. Or you turn your own product in and have a back end. So is this making sense? There's a few others in here. Let's look at how can a music CD be for free? Now, a lot of artists were fighting, Sheryl Crow and all them, like, don't change the industry. We're going to keep it the old way. You can't change it. It's going to happen with or without you. So what Prince did in July 2007, his new album, Planet Earth, he did a JV with the London Daily Mail. They stuffed a copy of the CD for worth $19. He normally would sell this. A new release would sell quite well. So he gave away that. He would lose a lot of revenue because he could sell that. The paper often includes a CD, but this was the first time it featured all new material from a pop star. How can a platinum artist give away a new release, and how can a newspaper distribute it free of charge? We look at it. Prince spurred ticket sales. Strictly speaking, the artist lost money on the deal. He charged the Daily Mail a licensing fee of 36 cents a disc, rather than his normal $2 royalty he'd get if it sold through a store. But he more than made up the difference in ticket sales, which is the whole new model now for performers. They make money out of concerts. That's why there's so many concerts coming all the time now. They give away their music often for free to sell a concert ticket. The purple one sold 21 shows at London's Arena, so he made a fortune. The Daily Mail, what's in it for them, boosted its brand. The freebie bumped up the newspaper circulation 20% that day. More people would buy a newspaper if you're going to get a free music CD that you like. That brought in extra revenue, but not enough to cover expenses. Still, Daily Mail execs consider the giveaway a success. The gimmick worked editorially and financially. Because we're pioneers, advertisers want to be with us. So they had a longer-term view. They said, if we give away a free CD, we have to pay the cost of the CD plus 36 cents royalty, but it's going to bump up our sales straight away. May not be enough to cover the cost. It's a lost leader. But long-term, they know they're a leader in that industry. Advertisers see that, are attracted that they'll sell more advertising over time. Making sense? It's a client acquisition. But they're not trying to necessarily acquire the reader, because that's one of their clients. They're after acquiring the advertisers. So they want to be a leader to get that. Make sense? So it's in direct marketing. So there's plenty of examples there I want you to look at. How can a university education be free? This is interesting because the reason most people go to university, I was talking about this the other day, the difference in, say, 21st century education and companies like that is that you enroll to do education because you want to actually learn the education. Most people that enroll to go to university, 80% of them, I would estimate, don't care about what they're learning. They don't even intend learning. They're going to get a what? A diploma or degree. That's the values in the piece of paper. Half the people do a course that don't even, because let's say you want to be a lawyer. You don't need to go to uni to be a lawyer. You can go and study it online, know everything about law. You just don't have a degree. Make sense? So how can a university education be free? This particular university, you can actually go and study everything they do, all the lectures. You can do the whole course for free, but you don't get the degree. Making sense? So the main reason people go to university and why it sells $18 billion a year in Australia, $4 billion a year in New Zealand, second biggest export earner for our country, is all for a piece of paper. That's the main reason people go to uni. Not so much to learn, thank Christ, because a lot of people don't learn a lot there, is for that piece of paper, okay? So when I'm recognizing that, guess what, 21st century? We said, okay, I told them last minute, this is what's changing. We want to create our own certification. So 21st century will become a certification. So eventually, mainstream, that people, when they get a job, they also want to have a 21st century diploma or 21st century certification. It'll boost up their resume. Why? Because there's a massive market for that. We're talking the 80% of the market that doesn't really care about what they're learning. They predominantly want a piece of paper. And it's all about credibility. You can go to the Australian Institute of Directors, okay? That is not a government organisation. That is it's just an organisation. They created their own credibility, their own degree, so to speak, their own piece of paper. If you're in a financial services industry or in a director of any capacity, a public company, private companies, and you've got a certified through the Australian Institute of Directors, you add that to your CV, you add the little letters after your name, that gives you more credibility, just like having a university degree, so to speak. Make sense? So organizations create this. It's all about creating a certification. That's why a lot of courses come with a diploma or certification, because often people pay more for that than the education. Ultimately, what we're about, though, is that we want people obviously doing it for the education, and some people also will do it for a certification as well, because that will help their career. Who's following what I'm saying here? Okay, so that's an example of that. So they give it away for free, but of course you don't get the degree. You pay $100,000 for that piece of paper. How can travel on airlines be free? Well, should ask Qantas that one. Ryanair. Who's heard of Ryanair before? Irish company. So about 1.3 million passengers fly from London to Barcelona. If you've ever been to Europe over the last half a dozen years, you'll hear these offers, £1 airfares, £5 airfares. Like, how the hell do they do it? Well, let's look at how they do it. Once again, Ryanair come in and they weren't the first, okay? They weren't the first as a low-cost carrier, but they certainly would become the most profitable there for a while. Okay, I think they're struggling a little bit now because they're Irish. No offense to the Irish, but they're struggling because the economy's in a bit of bother. But the point is, they were first in. They said, how do we innovate? Remember, what I'm saying, we're talking about innovating businesses. Right now, we're saying, what's the easiest way to innovate? Innovate is to do something for free. This is what we're focusing on innovation right now. How can you give something away for free, get mass amount of customers, and profit from it? Now, there's people that disagree with free. You shouldn't do this. You'll cannibalize your business. Depends how you do it. Depends how you do it. Because Yeah, you might lose a lot of revenue in some cases, but if you had, what the goal is really, if you had, say, you give something away for free, and right now you might be selling a product, so you might be making 10 sales a month of whatever your product is, and you have only 100 people, prospects coming, and that's costing you a lot of money, and you get 10 clients. And you're saying, Jamie, why don't you give a product away for free? Well, think about it. You give a product away for free, instead of 100 prospects, that might jump to 100,000 prospects. Your conversions to your back-end product might drop from 10% to only 1%. Because so many people are getting for free your main product, they're just happy with that. But the question is, what would you rather, 1% of 100,000 or 10% of 100? Who's following what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about here, okay? Reshaping industries. I'm telling you, this is what's happening and will continue to happen. Whether you participate in it or be a market leader in it will be up to you. How can air travel be free? Well, what they do is obviously they say, ask the question, what business are we in? They realized they're not just in air travel. They said, first of all, Ryanair, basically, Ryanair boards and disembarks passengers from the tarmac to trim gate fees. So they lower the cost so they can afford to give their product away for free. The airline negotiates lower access fees. They ramp up the extra services, which you now see all the low-cost budget carriers doing it. They charge for checking in America in particular. You get charged for checking in luggage. Okay, you get charged for if you're overweight. Okay, you get charged for beverages. You get charged for everything on the plane. Okay, they're thinking about now, Ryanair and some of these airlines, thinking about charging you to use the bathroom on the plane. Okay. They're looking at how to monetize everything. They haven't yet because probably feedback is like, But eventually, if you're getting a £1 airfare, you're going to whinge and whine about having to pay for the bathroom, yes or no? Well, you shouldn't. If you're getting a £1 airfare, you should be happy to pay for the bathroom, okay? Someone has to pay for the plane. They offset their losses also on higher fare days. So it might be £20 one day, but that gets a lot of attention in the papers. But in the other days, when it's more peak, you're paying more. So you look at a ticket price, $30 for checking 2 bags. They might make money from selling the bottle of water. You pay more to get priority boarding. You pay handling credit card fee, subsidy from other flights. They allow advertising on the flights, $20 ticket price, and then they sell a lot more traffic going to their site. Imagine if you're giving away cheap airfares, massive traffic to your website, and then you can sell the car rental, hotel. They make more off that than they do off the airline seat. They said, what business are we really in? We're in the travel business, not necessarily the airline business. So if we can give our product away for free or cheaply, then we'll attract more people to us, and then we can sell them other people's products and services. The same formula as the funnel. Hotels, budget cars, etc. Now, what's that other company? It's an orange one. EasyJet. So EasyJet has internet cafes, EasyJet everything, EasyJet car hire, etc. It's the same model. They got to become a billionaire by doing that. Okay? All they're doing is getting ahead of the trends and cutting out costs, how they can deliver their product for less. Now, how do you cut out costs? You move your products online, because online, downloadable, zero cost. To create the product, that's it. Then it's zero cost. So they can afford to give a lot of things away. And that's why the younger generation, under 30, are used to things being free, because everything is pretty much on the internet. Doesn't mean they don't pay for the upgrade. Doesn't mean that it doesn't give exposure. They pay for something. Okay, you look at some of the hottest company now, I can't remember its name, after Facebook. It's once again, it makes money because of Facebook. I think forget the name, the company that owns Farmville, Zynga. It's the hottest new internet stock out there. I mean, it's not publicly listed yet, but people are doing everything to own stocks in that. It'll be it's already making, it turns over $800 million a year because of Farmville and what's some of those other games, online games people do on Facebook, where it's free to use, great business model, free games. They created applications and they rode off Facebook's market share. Facebook gets bigger, they rode off that. And Facebook was smart enough to allow them to put games on that. Because what really drove Facebook was actually people using games. It was a massive industry. And it's growing. So online games. So they gave them away for free rather than charge for it. Great model. And what people do, they build their farms or they build their cities and their villages. But to build things and put houses on, etc., they have to buy credits. and they buy credits, which is just made up currency, off the online games company. They pay money, kids do it, and they get their mum's credit card, buy these things, the credits to build a house, build a suburb, build a whole street, build a farm. And they're paying all this. This company does 800 million in revenue already, and 500 million of it is profit. You can see why investors want to own a slice of that, because they know as Facebook continues to grow, Zynga, whatever it is, what is it? Zynga, it continues to grow. Huge success story. All they did was online games that can be played on Facebook and gave it away for free. Get people so hooked on it, people then buy the add-ons, the upsell, the upgrades. That's what you're looking at. The same model over and over again. When will people cotton on and go, something to think about? Jamie, but I just have a goddamn garden store. How does this apply? Okay. I'm sure you're already getting plenty of ideas. Everything can be taken online. Doesn't matter what service you provide. You're an accountant, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're a teacher, okay? You're a chef. We've already seen Jamie Oliver, he's taking his stuff online, etc. He has a product to start with, okay? Now he charges for product. He probably gives a lot of product away for free. And then also what we're doing that is branding. The power of branding, because you can carry a brand across multiple products and multiple industries, and that's how you want to say. Your focus is not just building a business. Your focus should be building a what? Brand, okay? Richard Branson's built a brand. You know about Virgin, and the more Virgin companies there is, the more companies you're likely to use. So that gives you a lot of examples of free. Raise your hand if you're now getting excited. Raise your hand, make some noise. Because I'm saying, Jamie, are you saying as simple as growing a business or reshaping an industry or becoming a market leader is simple as all I could even just consider giving stuff away for free? The answer is absolutely yes. Has it been done before? Yes. You have lots of examples there? Yes. Does it work? Yes. Should you test and measure? Yeah, some of you are going to go, no, just go do it, okay? You test and measure on a small scale, but it helps. Remember, it all comes back to the marketing funnel. We're looking at fundamentals. Now, ironically, in my companies, we've been giving stuff away for free for years. Free accounting consultation, free finance review, free seminars, free ebook. So my book became a very popular book in Australia, what I didn't learn at school but wish I had. It sells through bookstores for $35. Some of the bookstores, when we started giving away for free years ago online as a free ebook, they were like, they were worried it was going to reduce sales. Ironically, it actually increased sales. Because a lot of people might read it online, they go, shit, stuff this, I'm going to go and buy it in store because they'd rather read it in a book. Make sense? Or they tell all their friends about it. So it actually increased sales of the hard copy book. Making sense? That's how you can look at it. So you increase it. But also there's a back end because people find out about, and they find out about the courses, they want to learn more, etc. So it has a back end. Okay, so that's what you want to look at. You can either create a front end or be willing to give it away. Most authors wouldn't give their books away. I've still have people that, I give even hard copy books away. We just give thousands away. Why? Because my main goal is to add value and to educate. Make sense? So I've achieved that goal. And it can be like Facebook. Well, if any of it comes back, some of it might, but doesn't need to as long as it's adding value. I can afford to subsidize. I don't really need the royalties off a book. You know what I'm saying? I can afford to subsidize because the goal is to educate. So if I have to give 1 million books away and it costs me $1 million, who cares? Do you know what I'm saying? So you can cross-subsidize in that sense. In other words, because I have other companies that are funding it, it's effectively subsidizing it. So free, but what we're now looking at is that free in a whole new level of saying how do you dominate industries by being first to it? Because free attracts a lot of attention. And that's why the airlines, even in Australia, sometimes they did those $39 airfares or $1 airfares, but you have to do it in this time frame, etc. It creates publicity. It gets a lot of traffic. They might be a loss leader, but a lot of people, once they've flown Jetstar or flown Virgin, they'll then tend to go and use the airline over and over again. Making sense? Also, what happened when Impulse was still around, etc., they had those price wars when Virgin Blue first started, is when they lowered the price cheap enough, what it did, guess what industry got hurt the most? With the airlines' prices got below $40, $50. Buses. It started to affect the bus industry because why would you pay $150 or $120 to sit in a bus and take 24 hours to go Sydney, Melbourne when you can jump on a plane for $37? Now, ironically, the cab fare to the airport costs us more than the airfare. In a lot of cases. Doesn't that annoy the hell out of you? Okay. So, but because they've done that in scalability, it's all about getting at low cost margins so you can do it. And that's on heavy infrastructure type products. Imagine with an internet type product. That's why things have changed a lot. Insurance is cheaper now in a lot of cases in some areas if you can get it online because people can compare to each other. Different before, you had to go through insurance brokers. In a lot of cases, you pay more now. Some insurance is still expensive, but others is cheaper online because it's automated type business. But you've seen the stockbroking industry. I mean, it's already in Australia coming down. If someone really wanted to jump the trend here, once again, see what the pattern is. What's already working in the US works there first, eventually come here. If someone was smart, they could go, I'm going to do a Zecco and go over there and you learn what they do, bring it back to Australia, be the first to do zero cost stockbroking in Australia. They could probably build a business. Just like my friend saw Groupon, $6 billion company, online discount retailer, and said, I can do that in Australia, call it a different name. It's a $50 million company already in 2 years. It's not overly complex. It's being organized, efficient, spotting a trend, testing, measure, and actually just doing it. Going out there and making it happen. Okay, refine doesn't quite work. You can challenge to get it to work. Okay, raising capital if you need as well. Okay, why? Because raising capital can speed it up sometimes. If it's going to be slow growing, etc. If you raise capital, you can get to the market faster before someone that's more organized, more capitalized comes along and scoops it up. All the bigger players will recognize it and they go in and the bigger players often will buy your company because you've done the groundwork. They go, shit, this company's going somewhere, we'll buy it. And you sell out 10, 20, 50 mil and make that sort of money. Okay, that's what you're looking at doing. By thinking on a higher level, it's all about adding value. So there's a lot of examples there. So the word you're after is called freemium, the freemium model. Some of you will be familiar with that. Freemium model, and it's used a lot these days. It has a lot of potential. Whether people like it or not doesn't matter. It's just the way the world's moving because of the internet. So you have some examples there. I'll go through some examples. There's a handout you got there called Freemium Tactics. So let's look at an example, because some of you are going, well, how do I go about giving something away for free? What should I do? Well, this is an example of a business software company that was offering its product as an online service. It was charging $99. So it was charging $99 for its product. So what it decided to do was say, okay, let's use the freemium concept. And it decided to, because it wanted to reach more people. $99 was capping how many people reach. Just like Facebook, if it's free, it reaches more people. Here are 4 models that are considered using. One, now this is for software, so you can amend this to what you might do. Time limited free. In other words, 30 days free, then you pay. That's a very common one for software, isn't it? You get free trial, 30 days, but then you have to pay for it. That's the Salesforce model. Remember, if you use Salesforce. Upside is it's easy to do, low risk of cannibalizing your paid product. The downside is many potential customers like you might go, well, are we really? We know in 30 days you have to pay, so we don't want to get used to it and like it if we're not going to pay for it. Okay, so some people mightn't even sign up for a free trial because they know they eventually have to pay. Feature limited, you can obviously, this is a common one for software or digital type products. They give away, number 2, a basic free version. So you create a basic version, you just give away. Okay, and then people obviously pay for the more upgraded, sophisticated version. That is a very common model that software companies have used for years and made a lot of money from. Number 3, seat limited. Can be used by up to some people. For free, but more than that is paid. So QuickBooks use this model. Okay. Upside, easy to implement, easy to understand. Okay. Number 4, customer type limited. Small. This is an interesting one that Microsoft does. Okay. So small and young companies get it free. Bigger and older companies pay. This is almost like segmenting. This is a model used by Microsoft's BizSpark, where companies less than 3 years old and under $1 million in revenue get Microsoft's business software for free. I don't know whether they do this in Australia, but they do this in America. Now, upside is it charges companies according to their ability to pay, and what they're after is the fast-growing companies early. So Microsoft's not stupid. They want the younger companies that are future potential companies going to get big and buy lots of their software. If they get it and have it for free, so they're using it into their systems. Once they grow, then they're above the $1 million, they have to start buying the software and they'll need a lot of it. So it's a loss leader, but what's it cost of Microsoft to give their software away for free? They've already spent the money, so it's cost them minimal, almost nothing, other than, if it's downloadable, it'll be nothing. If it's in a disk, it'll be little. They've already spent the money, okay? So it's not costing them anything more. But it's a good way to pick up business. So even Microsoft does that. So there's different examples and the whole free rules there for you to read through. But I think you've got the gist of it when we look at the examples that we've went through of the different business models you can use to give away for free, okay? So has anyone got any particular questions? Okay, before we're going to bring another speaker up, I've asked my one of my accountants to come in and share some things with you, because I know in business we talk about sales and marketing, but we also need to have accounting systems, financial systems. We also need to have how to read a profit and loss balance sheet of a business, whether you're buying a business or you're working in a business or you're creating a business. If you don't have those areas taken care of, well, you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur, or you have to hire and bring in experts. So in a moment, I'm going to have Aj come up here and share with you for 20, 30 minutes, share you some of that expertise. It's very valuable. I wish I'd met Aj many years ago. Okay, he's a problem solver, fixes accounting systems and makes sure your business is more professionally run with proper systems in place, less likely to have wastage in your companies, less likely to be ripped off by fraud, etc. Who thinks that's important to know all this stuff? Okay. So it's good to have people that have that expertise that can share that with you. Before I do that, I want to take a couple of questions. One question you had, Bruce, was about branding. It was a very good question. He said, what was the question again?
It was in regard to the Virgin.
So Virgin
Just in the last 6 months, they've had 2 computer system crashes. So how will that affect the rest of the products? Will it have negative effects, or will the exposure to the brand name, because surely Richard will say, righto, we've had this problem here, people are going to be put out, we'll give them all the free nights accommodation or the next flight free, something like that. Will it? How does that?
Yeah, so what you're really saying there, the upside of branding is that you can carry over your goodwill to other companies. So let's say when Virgin started Virgin credit cards, they did a deal with Westpac. They got 600,000 applicants for credit cards in a matter of a very short space of time. That's the power of the Virgin brand. So if you wanted to go into the credit card industry and start a product to get 600,000 customers, would take massive amount of advertising. Virgin, boom, because they could cross-market to Virgin Blue, and people in the marketplace knew who Virgin was. Virgin credit card, they made it funky, they made it different, and everyone wanted a Virgin credit card. 600,000 applicants. So that's the power of branding, the upside of branding. You can transfer that goodwill. The downside of branding is if one company or one product fucks up, basically, it can damage the other brand. True? So the example of that was Virgin UK Trains. Have you ever been to England? They have trains. Now, trains, they bought trains because they're in the travel industry, not just the airline industry. So they bought Virgin Trains. The challenge of the trains are antiquated, old, and to change the culture of the train system, to improve the efficiency of the product. And when they slap their brand on it, people expect, Virgin Trains will be nice service, they'll be on time, it'll be fresh, it'll be hip, it'll be fun. No. Because they weren't able to change the staff, they weren't able to create the culture of the existing staff, they took over an existing business. They couldn't control the quality of the trains for X amount of time because the train lines were just crap, rough, etc. So it took them forever to try and fix that problem. And it caused them a lot of brand damage because, people have a Virgin experience on a Virgin train, it's just not the same, okay, as it would be. So with the airlines, with Virgin Blue, that's hurt them. It's dropped $20 million net profit from their last 6 months. That hurts. Imagine that, dealing with a crisis like that, where the airline system, which they're going to try and sue, but they will never be successful, I doubt it, with the software thing. So as a result of that hurts them bottom line. But if it happens too much, then people go, well, I'm not going to fly on a Virgin plane because they have too many cancellations. So it has to happen enough to start to cause that. So they have flexibility in their brand. The reality is that happening in Virgin Blue with just that, it's probably not going to affect their brand too much, because as long as the opportunity is when something happens, here's what I understand. If you have a upset client, or whatever's not working, your client's not completely happy, remember, that is the opportunity. It's what you do then that determines the success of your business. Every business is going to have upset clients or clients not particularly happy. It's how you deal with it that will make or break your business. Okay, remember, you're not going to keep everyone happy. And because in businesses are imperfect, things don't always work because we're dealing with humans, we're dealing with third-party companies. So the other point in branding, when you white label or do a third-party company, the third-party company may not have the same culture, same values, or may not deliver the same level of standard that your company does and what your clients are used to. So that can be very dangerous, can be very damaging. It's just the reality of business, things don't always work, okay? So you want to minimize that as much as you can, okay? So yes, branding has its upsides. The upside for Virgin Group has been much bigger than its downside. But they have done incredibly well to manage their brand. incredibly well. You don't hear a lot of negativity of the Virgin brand. Overall, most people would say Virgin, it's a positive experience. Who would agree with that? Okay, with your loved one, etc. It's one of the top 5 brands in the world. Okay, very powerful. Okay, but they have to protect that, and that's something they constantly work on and do their best. But they're not perfect. Virgin Blue, is it a perfect company? Virgin Atlantic, no. But are they successful? Yes or no? Hugely successful. Yep. Does that answer your question? It's a good question. Okay, down the back, another question. Yeah, we'll just get a microphone.
An incredibly interesting thing for me about Virgin is the presence of Richard Branson. He is integral to the actual branding and that face and that personality. If it wasn't for him personally, it would be only half the brand or less.
Yeah, definitely. So he's an example. So you can look at that 2 ways. If you're an investor in a company, I mean, Virgin's taken some companies public, but they generally like to stay private, is say that would be what we call a key man risk. Jot that down, a key man risk, because you say, well, if something happens to Richard, then the value of the brand or the value of the companies mightn't be as good. Now, the reality is that companies run quite well without Richard. He's more the PR man. So he's been a very effective entrepreneur by doing PR, and he's built a brand that's worth billions without hardly any advertising, mainly by doing PR stunts, but just doing something different, doing something unique, doing something crazy, and the media love him for that. So whenever he's also in Australia or whatever country he's in, he gets a lot of PR, and it's just amazing how good that PR is for a company. They always do, and also do a lot of parties, a lot of launches. They invite VIPs, celebrities, etc., and they create a culture that they're what we call a preferred employer. People queue up to work for Virgin. They'll work for Virgin for half the price of Qantas. Why? Because they'd rather work in a company they believe in and a culture that's more fun. Because people want to enjoy their work. Google, Facebook, preferred employers. They're companies that can attract the best talent because people want to work there because they have a culture that is attractive. Okay? So the downside is, yeah, something happens to Richard Branson, but he's a big part of the brand. But he's been smart enough to build Virgin as the brand, not Branson as the brand. Branson has a brand, but Virgin is a bigger brand than him. If you look in the education industry, Tony Robbins is a brand, a very powerful brand in that industry of personal development. However, the limitation is Tony built his brand around his name. Major key man risk. Tony will never be able to get decent. If he ever wants to sell out of his business, he will get bugger all for it, even though it's a very successful business. Why? Because without Tony Robbins' research is not that valuable. It's a database, basically. Makes sense? So as an educator, what I learned from that, say, you know what? As much as I love educating, Jamie McIntyre is a brand to a degree, but 21st Century is a much bigger brand. It's a brand that's separate to me. That, in other words, building a legacy that can work without me. So if I wasn't around, 21st Century can continue and it continue its mission. It's a separate brand. So reduce the key man risk. Otherwise, a company, whether I ever sell it or not, it's a different story, but reduces the key man risk. It's not dependent around me. It's dependent around. So you don't have to be. So business, you want to build that way. You don't want to be a control freak or a significance freak. That it's built around you, because then it's great, but you're never going to have a business that's very saleable. Making sense? Who's following what I'm saying here? So there's 2 separate brands. But you can be, as the CEO of the leader of the business, you want to be the person that's promoting the purpose and selling the story of the business as much as you can, so you're getting exposure out there, okay? But by doing something unique, and PR stunts has worked very well for Richard Branson. Other people say, well, that's other people that don't like Richard Branson, that sort of style would never do that way, but it's been very effective for him. Apple. Generally a company that size doesn't have a key man risk around one individual, but Apple has massive key man risk around Steve Jobs. Now remember, Apple booted him out. He founded the company. They kicked him out. The board kicked him out. Then Apple went into decline. It was no company going nowhere. It was an aging company like Microsoft is heading into. Okay, they kicked him out. Now, Microsoft also, Bill Gates retired a few years ago. Notice how it's struggling without him still there. Okay, it's just not innovative. Steve Ballmer's just not as good. He thinks he is, but he's just not as good. So he's just not effective. He just can't get the deals. He missed out on Facebook. He's missed out on Google. He'll miss out on everything. Why? There's a lot of arrogance there. Okay, so until they re-innovate and become real innovators, they'll struggle. They'll play catch-up. Okay, Steve Jobs dies. What will happen to Apple shares? They will get hammered. But in saying that, it's still a very good franchise. So it's like Warren Buffett for Berkshire Hathaway. But he's creating a succession plan. But if Warren Buffett died, the shares would be volatile and would suffer as a result of that because key man risk. So they're trying minimum. Usually companies don't get that big based around a key man risk. Usually that's why they have a board in place, a lot of management, so they're not reliant on that. If you look at Body Shop, Anita Roddick built that. She passed away a few years ago. But she built that great company, but then it was bought out, etc. But even often when she was gone, not in the culture, they started to change things, affected the culture, and it didn't perform as well as it used to when she was there. So sometimes you've got to be careful of changing the culture. Virgin Blue, you'll notice in Australia, there's a slight culture shift. It's changed the uniform, etc. Why? Ex-Qantas is leading it now, John Borghetti. So he'll have a different culture, different, etc. So he has to manage not changing the culture too much, keeping the good side of the company, but also making it more profitable. Okay, so he has to combine Qantas mentality with a Virgin mentality. That will be interesting to see how successful he is at that. So you can see the leaders often can affect or change the culture in a positive way or in a negative way. You've seen a lot of companies just stuffed up because of that. But Steve Jobs was kicked out. He said, well, stuff you. He went out and built two very successful companies. One was Pixar. Okay, I forget the other one that he built. Can you remember? He sold it. What was the other one? Now there's another one as well. Was it Plato or something like that? Anyhow, a couple of billion-dollar companies he's built, okay, outside of that in his break. And then they begged him to come back. And he come back and reshaped Apple again to what it is today, okay? But, the stories about of Steve Jobs, like, if you're an employee and you get stuck in the elevator with him, he'll basically ask you as an employee, if you're in the building and you're in the elevator with him for the brief few moments, he'll ask you, what value do you add to my company? That's his question. And if you can't answer, if you're an employee and can't answer, and a good answer, you're fired like that. You're out, just like that. Think about that, because he's saying, well, why are you here? Well, you're taking a paycheck. If you don't know what value you're adding and you can't explain that rapidly and on the spot, what the hell are you doing in my company? Okay, so he's not a Richard Branson, very different philosophy. Apparently he's quite rude, can be quite arrogant, but he built a great company. But remember, he doesn't take no as an answer, and he's completely simplistic. Even though he's a geek and has the IT ability, as a marketer, he knows you've got to keep it simple. Let's just launch no more than 1, 2, 3 products for the year. Just keep it simple. Let's not confuse the marketplace. So he's been very good at that. Okay, he's effective. Different ways to go about doing it, different cultures. But he gets people happy to work for him, and they perform. Very good. Any other questions? Who's got lots of ideas? Who can't wait to get out there and action them? Okay. So we're going to take we're not going to actually take a break. I'm going to get you to, we're going to introduce another speaker. It'll be like a 2-minute in-room break. So if you need to rush to the bathroom, do it. But otherwise, I want you to just share, we'll jot down at least 5 action steps you can take from this last session. Thinking about this, the back-end products, the front-end products, free trials, the freemium method, lifetime value of a client, looking at all those things, the 3 ways to grow a business, increase your customers, increase the dollar amount, charge more, increase the frequency. Looking at all those things, and just do a bit of a brainstorm and share with your buddy, what action steps can you take? Because it's all about getting to action. You want to capture these ideas, and then you're going to test and what? Test and measure. That's what you're going to do. On a small scale, then you roll it out. Once you've got something working, you can replicate it rapidly. Okay, that's what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to be, we have one speaker now before we go then we'll have dinner. Then we will have, we have internet marketing tonight. Lou will speak on internet. So a lot of you want to see that. And we also have Aaron's going to speak on coaching and leadership, how to build teams, how to manage teams. It's very critical to have that. You want to build a team to work with. How do you perform? How do you reward them? How do you get them to outperform? And tomorrow we have a whole host of speakers. You have Justin Harrell coming to speak, Dimitri Stern, you have Kerwin Ray, some of you know Kerwin, Jack Deloso, he's going to be talking about exit strategies, capital raising for companies, and Chris Howard will be here tomorrow as well. Some of you know Chris. And I'll finish off tomorrow night. I'll go through the BNS strategy with you, talk a little bit about buying and selling businesses as well, how you can go about doing that and looking at a larger scale. I think they're going to hand out a form. If some of you are looking for businesses, so say, well, Jamie, this is great, I'd actually have a business, or looking to get into certain industries, there's one opportunity that's available is in the magazine media industry. So they'll hand out a form. If you're interested, you can fill it out later, expression of interest, and it'll be passed on to my CEO of our 21st Century Media, which is a media and publishing company. It owns magazine titles. Some of you will be familiar with Wealth Creator, Think and Grow Rich, Trading Inc., Traders Plus, new magazine coming up called Property Inc. as well. So there is an opportunity in that if you wanted to, talk about hidden assets. I bought a business 18 months ago. In any business, there's hidden assets. So when I bought a magazine company, what I was actually after was the know-how how to develop magazines. So I want to develop my own magazines for my own companies and also for others. So what I bought, what you understand, jot this word down, hidden assets. I'll just cover this very quickly because I was going to cover it anyhow. Any business has, if I looked at your businesses now and spent time one-on-one looking at, I would say, I would be looking for if I was to buy your business, what I'd be looking for, if I was going to buy it, I wouldn't tell you what the hidden assets are because I would be waiting to buy it, then exploit the hidden assets, okay? Because what something is worth depends on what you can do with the business. If you can see the hidden assets of any company, you can exploit that and make it worth more. So you pay $500,000 for a business, you might be able to sell it for $1 million or $2 million or $5 million, whatever, because you exploit its assets and make it more profitable, okay? So what I bought a magazine company for was the know-how to produce magazines. But then I know how to do that now, and I don't, but the people in the company do. So they have the know-how and the skill set to do that. So the infrastructure to build one magazine company is the same to create a second magazine. You don't have to double your cost base. Your cost base might go up by 10%, but you double your potential revenue. Does it make sense? To create a third magazine, a fourth magazine, a fifth magazine, it's not increasing your cost base by hardly anything more because you already have the existing infrastructure. So a lot of times what you do in a business that you might buy is you lower the costs, low-lying fruit, but then you look at how do you increase its potential revenue without having to increase its cost base because you already got a fixed cost base. It's like my mum's coffee shop. I mean, fixed cost base, if you can increase the charge more, it's extra revenue, but straight to the bottom line. Okay, so one of the things that we did was created new magazine titles. So we're making some of them available. So basically, as a hidden asset, was to create a magazine for you to go out. Let's say you want to get into publishing industry, the media industry, to go and start up a magazine. And the reason I bought a company was it was cheaper to buy it than start it. Most businesses I will start because just hire the people, make it happen. But to go and hire the staff, didn't have the expertise or the time to do that, would cost more than just going to buy one at a distressed price, okay? So often it's cheaper. So 2 ways to grow a business, jot this down. It's a bonus session for you. 2 ways to grow a business. One is through organic growth, okay, which is what we've been talking about all weekend. How to increase the sales, the profit of a business. Number 2 is via acquisitions. So what a lot of companies will do is they'll buy out other companies and they'll buy up promising companies. That's why you as an entrepreneur, you can build a promising company. There'll be heaps of bigger companies that want to buy you out because you've done the groundwork, get it ready, and they see the potential, boom. Because they mightn't be interested in starting a small company. Some do, but for me as an entrepreneur, I've predominantly built most of my businesses. I only bought about 2 companies, okay? But that gives you, and I'll probably buy a lot more because it's a different strategy. Okay? But often I can generally build companies cheaper than I can buy them. If I can buy them cheaper than build them, then you'd buy them. Okay? So something. That's one way as well. You buy your opposition out. Okay? Some companies will buy the opposition out and shut them down. Okay? That's more monopolistic powers, big companies, or just bring them in house and rechange the product. But it's a faster way to grow. You can grow rapidly through acquisitions, and we'll talk about that tomorrow and when I wrap up, as far as how to rapidly grow a company through acquisitions. And some of you who's interested in maybe potentially buying a business in the future? Okay? Because that's one way to grow a business, especially if you can see the hidden assets in it. If you can make money, and then you can buy it in different ways. So anyhow, so to start a magazine publishing company would cost X amount of money, and you'd have to have the know-how and hire the know-how. So when we created new titles, we said, well, we don't need all the titles. Now, we're creating titles. We can create new titles for what we need, and we can actually provide a business model where people wanted a magazine that's in newsagents, that has distribution, has a database, that's all published and done for you, and all you have to do is run your own business. So it's like an opportunity. So we created a hidden asset. So here's an opportunity where we can make available a magazine title and deliver it as a business cheaper than what people can do to start it up themselves. Okay. So if any of you are looking for a particular business, fill that out sometime because there's magazine titles that are available for sale. And you can basically be trained how to run a business that's built for you and how to grow that business. You have your own business as a magazine title that's in newsagents. Because to go and start a magazine and get it in newsagents is very costly and very difficult to do because most newsagents won't take it on. But they'll take on existing magazines that already exist from an existing supplier. Making sense? So there's an opportunity where you can basically vendor finance and have access to a business. I'm sharing that with you because it's only probably interest to some of you, but give an example of how do you look at hidden assets in a company. Instead of having one magazine title, you can build multiple titles. Then what we do also in that business is we do what's called custom publishing, which is white label. So you can go out to companies and say, did you know if you had your own magazine, you could add more value to your customers, you'd have more credibility in the marketplace, you'd be more successful. Therefore, you don't have time to build your own magazine. We'll publish one for you because we have the expertise to do it. We can print one and white label it, have all the articles, the content, white label it in their brand, and they have a magazine. So instead of mailing brochures out to their database, they can send out a magazine to their database. What would you prefer to read? A magazine or brochures? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? So it's teaching them how to add more value to their clients. But it's also exposure because a magazine has a shelf life. It can sit around on coffee tables, etc., for months or years promoting their business through their own ads. Who's following what I'm saying here? This is also other marketing methods that you can use. In the future, online magazines is all the rage, and a lot of companies will have their own online magazines, etc. Airlines all have their own magazines. A lot of companies have their own magazines. So what we did was take a hidden asset. We already had the infrastructure producing one magazine. Why can't they produce multiple magazines as for other companies? The infrastructures are there. It doesn't cost much to produce more because you're already paying for the infrastructure. That's an example of hidden asset. Another hidden asset is they had a database of subscribers. So in magazine industry, it's a tough industry, the margins are less. But what I said, well, why don't you do email blasts? I've contacted magazine companies in the past and wanted them to be able to, so we could do a JV, access their lists. And I've offered them money and some magazine companies say, no, we don't take money for that. This was one of the companies before I bought it. And I said, you're crazy. I said, what you should do, you have a subscriber list. A subscriber list is probably interested in other products and services. And so I got them to charge. They charge like $5,000 for an email blast. So a company can come along, pay $5,000, and they can email, they'll get an email sent out to the list of subscribers of their offer. Who's following what I'm saying here? So that's like a paid JV. So when you're saying trying to do JVs, you can go and do a paid JV. You can just pay a company or pay a magazine company, whatever companies are, they've got a list, we'll pay you to send out our offer. Okay? And they'll make the offer look as appealing, add value, or once again, you try and get an offer that's free. You give me an offer out that's free so you get opt-ins. Making sense? Let's pay. So that was a hidden asset of that company. There's a whole new division and they make more profit from that division alone of email blasts than they do from the magazine advertising. Making sense? By looking at the hidden assets of a company. By saying, what else? Then I said to them, do you know you've got a brand? Why don't you license the brand? Jot this down, licensing. So you're looking at the hidden assets of a business. Why don't you license your brand? If you're just in magazine publishing, what else do readers of magazines want? If it's a wealth magazine or a business reader, what else do they want? Well, they might want accounting services. You could license Wealth Creator, an example, Wealth Creator accounting services, Wealth Creator mortgage services, etc. You can license a brand out, whatever the brand is, to other partners and they'll pay a licensing fee in rights to be able to operate as that brand. What's that brand give them? Customers. Endorsement customers. Who's following what I'm saying here? So once again, you're using the hidden assets. There are assets that are sitting in a company that no one's recognizing. You can monetize the assets and make it more valuable. Okay? So you can take a company, you buy it here for one price, and then you can raise capital and say, well, rather than using your own equity, you might use your own cash to buy a company and you go, you know what? Use my own cash. I want to then take the risk out and get my money out. So then you can list the company or even publicly unlist the company, raise capital and keep majority ownership of a company, but you've got your money back. Who's following what I'm saying there? Okay, so basically you can, in a business, if you were to buy a business, I know this is a little bit advanced for some of you, but you can actually buy a business. So you pay $500,000 for a business. Then what you can do, you might buy that business, you find its hidden assets, and you increase It's potential. You create extra divisions by innovation. What business are we in? Really? So you think outside the narrow business what it thinks it's in? What business are we in? And if you're in the advertising business, no, you're not in the magazine advertising business, you're in the advertising business. There's more ways than advertising just in a magazine. Advertised by email blast, makes sense? Advertised by licensing. Advertised by white label. By building customer, who's following what I'm saying here? Or thinking all these different things. So then the value of the business might now be worth $2.5 million. Make sense? Okay, has a lot more potential. Then you might go and say, okay, I'm going to sell off 20% of the company. 20% of 2.5 is how much? 500,000 as the example. So basically you bought a business using your own money. An example, you've improved the value, you raise money, it's got a market value 2.5, unlisted, we might be a public company but unlisted, not on the ASX. You raise half a million dollars for 20%, and you've now got what's called free what? Free carry. You hear that expression sometimes when you're buying business, free carry. So free carry is, you've got free carry, you've got a business worth $2.5 million, that you've cost you $500,000 to acquire a company and then turn it into a better company. But you've then raised $500,000, so you've got your $500,000 back. The rest of the business, you still own 80%, sold off 20%, you still own 80% of the company. You got free carry for 80%. You still own 80% of a company for free. Repeat after me. Something to think about. Is this looking at things differently, yes or no? Okay. You start looking at things differently, how you can go about doing that by adding more value. Now, the next level up, what you would do, if you wanted to, you don't use your own cash, you would go and buy it by vendor finance. You try and negotiate. So some companies are bought by vendor finance. You negotiate, and you, instead of paying X amount of dollars up front, you say, I will pay it over time and tie in conditions. Okay? So you don't need your own capital. You can buy a business over time. Okay? And you pay it off over time. That's not using your own capital, and then you can do more things with it. Exciting? Now, not always can you buy vendor finance. Also, if you want to sell a business, what I say yesterday, for my mum to sell a coffee shop, easy way to sell it is offer vendor finance, okay? Because it's more affordable to more people. That way people can afford to buy it. Okay, just a food for thought, different things for you. Okay, get back to work. Write down 5 things, what you had to do before your homework, and we'll have another speak for you in 2 minutes, and I will speak to you more tomorrow, okay?